Utah Jazz are dealing with a large number of injuries. Obviously, Mike Conley's been out. Colin Sexton is out with a hamstring. Lauri Markkenan is still out with whatever this illness is. And the hits just keep on coming. Yet the Jazz are competing at a very high level. And we saw in their last couple of games here that they've damn near won both games without any of those guys, Jake. So is there a silver lining here for the Utah Jazz?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a silver lining. I think that, like last night against the Nuggets, you don't have Jordan Clarkson. You don't have, a lot of these names. I mean, you're like, put this into perspective. Talon Horton-Tucker is starting, right? Like we need to understand that a lot of the guys that were coming off of the bench are in the starting lineup right now. And I think that that's that happens to every team, but I think this Utah Jazz team is doing a hell of a job being in these games. Like against the Nuggets, Jokic does what Jokic does and has a triple-double and has a huge night, but you still only lose by 5. And yeah, so I do think there is a silver lining to that. I do think that not having your guys, but being in this game, especially on the road, that's a hell of a performance by this bench squad. And I think that, Will Hardy is doing everything that he can do, in my opinion. But I just think that when you start losing talent like, Lauri Markkenan and Jordan Clarkson and Mike Conley, like these guys are starters in the league for a reason. And so to me, I didn't have a huge problem with this particular loss to the Denver Nuggets. I felt like you worked really hard. And one of my biggest questions coming out of this game is, how for real is Nickeil Alexander-Walker? How for real is the contribution? Because he goes 40 minutes, 9 of 16 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3. You had a good night, 27 points. You had a pretty solid performance there. My only question is that sustainable? Can he be that guy, 5 out of 7 nights? Well, probably not yet. Can he develop into that guy, though? Because if you can do it one game, I think you can do it regularly. It's just a matter of development and diagnosing the defense and understanding how to get to your spots. So that, to me, is one of the biggest silver linings coming out of these losses.
Yeah, and I think NAW is for real. I think when you look at the skill set he's deploying, he is shooting the ball well. He is getting after it at the rim. I love what he's bringing to you defensively. And I do think it says something about playing time and minutes distribution, because you look at some of the guys that are getting minutes, and a lot of guys are not contributing. But you look at guys like NAW, again, just looking at the box out of the Nuggets game, let's say, right? As you talked about, you started Olynyk, Vando, Beasley, Alexander-Walker, and THT. Talon Horton-Tucker gives you 34 minutes, 1 of 7 from 3, 19 points. But then you look at a guy like Walker Kessler, who does not start. He gives you 22 minutes, and again, you get 3 blocks. You get 8 rebounds, 2 of 3 from the line, 10 points, like a really solid contribution off the bench.
Yeah.
So you then look at, NAW gives you 40 minutes, 5 of 10 from 3 for 27 points. 3 boards, 2 dimes. Like, he's really contributing.
Yeah.
I think you have to play Nickeil Alexander-Walker more. Even when everybody's healthy, I think you have to really look at making sure that he's getting 25, 27 minutes a night.
Yeah, and I think that the what you talked about there with the shooting is why he's getting those minutes. Obviously, he works hard. He's a pretty serviceable defender, in my opinion. But the shooting has to be there. And I think that's how he's going to go about getting his numbers and getting to his spots, getting his numbers, contributing, by shooting. He's not a guy, like, just as a crazy comparison, like Zion doesn't get his numbers by shooting, right? Zion's a guy that goes in and bullies people. Nickeil's not that guy, right? He's going to get his numbers by staying on the perimeter, maybe driving past you, but he's not a physical guy. So to me, it's like, yeah, I think because Jordan Clarkson is starting on most nights, maybe Nickeil Alexander-Walker can be that next iteration of the Jordan Clarkson-esque figure, where he can come off the bench for, like you said, 25 to 27 minutes a night and can give you 20 points off the bench. Because this team needs that. Like, if you could have a guy come off the bench every night and give you 20 reliably,
come on,
that would be a hell of an improvement.
Yeah, I think that'd be huge. And I think one of the things that we're learning is that the guys who are going to win you a championship are not here. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, if I look up and down this roster and we start talking about, hey, who can be here to win a championship when you win a championship, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is absolutely one of those guys. He's a young guy that you're going to mold, and he's going to make or break the rest of this year and probably the first half of next year when you would expect to be a far more competitive team. And if you look at the rest of the guys, like, and I know, like, again, I point him out because he's such a fan favorite. I don't think Jordan Clarkson's a guy that's on this roster when the Jazz win their first championship.
Facts.
I just don't see that. I don't think THT is you know, a guy that you can't replace. But I look at somebody like Walker Kessler. I think he's got a very unique skill set. I think he's a guy that can play with the bigs that play in this league in the style of play where bigs thrive in this current incarnation of the NBA. I think, you know, Walker Kessler's a guy that can be on this roster. But other than that, I don't see a guy who you've got to have or it's going to extend your timeline.
Right.
Frankly, I think, you know, probably your top 10 guys are not here right now. I think I could make the argument that the day that the Utah Jazz win a championship, and yes, I am still convinced that Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge will bring a championship to this town in the next 5 seasons, I would say. I am convinced that I could make an argument that none of the top 10 guys on that team are here right now. And maybe, hey, again, maybe Nickeil Alexander-Walker earns a spot in that rotation. Maybe absolutely he's talented enough. But, Jake, I don't know that any of those guys are here right now.
Yeah, and I think it's tough. Like, I think that you never know who, you know, like you can make the case that, you know, a guy who starts on this team could be like Kelly Olynyk, perfect example. Yep. Kelly Olynyk could be a guy that comes off the bench on a championship team. He could. He's good enough individually to contribute, you know, 15 to 17 minutes a night on a championship team. You know, so like there are decisions to be made very clearly, and I think that, you know, the tough part is for Danny Ainge is like a lot like this team is starting to develop some pretty likable guys. You know, and I think that in the league, it's always been tough because this is such a relatable league. You relate to the struggles of a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, where, you know, he didn't really do a whole lot in New Orleans. He comes here last year and doesn't even get a sniff, really. And then now with Will Hardy, like, he's getting minutes and getting major minutes now, and like he's able to contribute on what is essentially a 500 basketball team. I think they're one game above 500 right now, but they're essentially a 500 basketball team. But this is the kind of opportunity guys like NAW need, or Walker Kessler's need, or frankly THT needs. Like, these guys need those minutes. So to me, hell, I was even happy to see Agbaji get some NBA minutes. You know, like, that was nice to see. So that's why I say, like, yeah, this roster's gonna get rolled over. There's no question about it. But I think when you're contributing 40 minutes a night and you're putting up 27 points, like, yeah, you were a minus player in that game, but a lot of that's probably not you. That's probably the fact that you're playing a really good Denver Nuggets team. Like, there are just things that happen that way. So to me, it's like, yeah, you're going to roll this roster over. I don't think anyone doubts that. But yeah, I do think there are some gems in the waiting here if you keep developing them, like, you know, the NAWs. I do think Walker Kessler could be a really good big on a championship team, but I think he needs to lift some weights, and I think he needs to become more of a killer than he is, and that's my biggest concern. I don't know if the guy is ever a cold-blooded big. That's my thing. Like, he is rather soft personality-wise, so that would be my only concern. So to me, I think they're doing fine. I just think that you have to keep winning at least 1 or 2 out of every 5 you play, because right now you're grinding quite a bit through the schedule. And by the way, schedule doesn't get any easier. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. Like, the Pelicans are coming to the Viv for 2 on Tuesday and Thursday. Then you're going out east for teams like Milwaukee and Cleveland. I think you have the Pistons coming up. So it doesn't really get any easier, but hopefully they can get healthy from the Milwaukee game.
Well, the next 6 of 9 are on the road. I mean, that's always a very difficult stretch, you know, to undertake. But listen, I think I am not the guy who says, oh, well, this is great, this will improve the Jazz draft slot, because nothing the Jazz do in this draft is going to move them closer to a championship. And I know that's not what Jazz fans want to hear.
How could you say that? The draft is all that matters.
Well, I mean, the NBA draft is not what's going to win the Jazz a championship. And fans believe that you can draft Victor Wembanyama, and the NBA is really pushing him hard, broadcasting all of his games in the NBA app. And look, I get it. But the hard reality is there are very few teams that are set up like the Golden State Warriors who have drafted exceptionally well back-to-back years and 3 out of 5 years to build a core. That's just not the way championships are won. And I think it's more likely that you're going to run into a situation like a Milwaukee, let's say, who drafts Giannis and winds up developing him. Now, granted, his rise has been, I don't know that anybody could have predicted he'd ever be as good as he is.
Right.
But he's not the sole reason that they won a championship. It was a collection of the pieces around him. That's what wins championships. So, yeah, do you have to have that core? Sure you do. And would you like to add a superstar? Sure you would. But you're probably not doing that through the draft. I mean, your percentages of hitting home runs in the draft are just not good.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think, again, the draft is going to change dramatically over the next 2 or 3 years because of the new collective bargaining agreement. So I think you're going to have to go out and compete in the trade market and to a lesser extent the free agent market because I think it's going to be tough for the Jazz to get a number one option in free agency. You're going to have to trade for that.
Yeah.
So I think that if you're one of those fans that's hanging on to the NBA draft as the avenue for the Jazz to win a championship, you're going to die before they win a championship. And I'm assuming you're going to live to 100. Because if they're going to try and build a contender through the draft, the Jazz will not win.
Yeah.
Point blank, plain and simple.
Yeah.
The Jazz will not win building through the draft. And I know that people will be unhappy with that or frustrated with that, but you just do not win through the NBA draft.
Yeah, well, you're hating on the Jazz again. You're just a hater.
Yeah. Yeah, we get it. By the way, I still put the percentages of getting a Victor Wembanyama, who, again, I'm just telling you, that's not the guy in this draft you want.
No.
It's not the guy you want. Scoot Henderson's the guy you want. Victor Wembanyama is not the guy you want. But if you want the number one overall pick, I think you have almost no chance at getting it. I mean, it would be...
You'd have to trade. You'd have to be intentional to go and get it.
It would be unbelievable to think that they could win the number one pick. You'd have to go trade for it.
Yeah, agreed.
No doubt about it. All right, let's get your comments in here. If you're watching the show right now, please do give us a thumbs up. That really helps the channel grow. By the way, we are still giving away our Jazz package.
What a weekend it was for subscribers. You guys are doing work, man.
Yeah, we did all right. I mean, we did all right. On the subscriber front, don't let Jake fool you. On the subscriber front,
so that's how it's going to be.
We are only at 8,401 subscribers. That's 599 to go in the next, I don't know, what is that, 19 days? 19 days to get 500 and, you want to, here.
Let's do the calculations.
Let me do some succinct.
Back of the envelope calculations here.
Thank you, Kliavkov. What do we have? We have 599.
Yep.
Divided by
19.
19 is 32 subscribers a day. Is that likely to happen? Yeah, probably not. But if we get to 9,000 subs by the end of this year, December 31st, we are going to take you plus one to the Utah Jazz game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jake and I will accompany you. We will sit and watch the game with you. We will take you to the team store. We will buy you a custom jersey if you like. I would again tell you, don't get a jersey. If I'm you, I'm trying to get the black with yellow trim Utah Jazz sweatshirt because I think that's the most fire piece of merch that I have seen. Even the black with the white note, that's what you're trying to do. But I'm telling you, it's probably not going to happen. I mean, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow.
Do it.
You got to go in.
We got to try to get to 200 today. I mean, we came up short on Friday. So, 200 likes today is the goal.
Yeah, that'd be great. And what those likes do, by the way, is those likes really, push our content out to other people.
Yeah.
Who are not subscribed that see the channel.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm telling you to go ahead and give us a thumbs up and a like. But yeah, if we somehow miraculously get to 9,000 subs by the end of the year, we'll take you plus one to see Donnie and the Cavs when they come back to Salt Lake in January. It's going to be a heck of a time. Black Car's going to be involved. We're going to buy your food and your drink. It's going to be a great time. All we have to do is get to 9,000 subs. That's it. That's your job.
Yeah,
Let's do this thing.
do it.
What's up? Troy says, good morning, Monty Jake. So do you think it's Hardy on the losing or just the guys getting to know each other? Well, no, I think they're hurt. I don't think. Are we already questioning Will Hardy? We're not doing that already, are we? I mean, I think Will Hardy's done a fantastic job.
Yeah, they're hurt right now, man. Like,
yeah,
you lost by 5 in Denver, and you didn't have Conley, Lauri, or Clarkson. Like, come on.
Yeah, I am not going to get on. I am not going to get on Will Hardy. That's not going to happen. And I'm looking for team stats. My mind's going away. I'm looking at numbers from the Jazz. As a team, they shot 46%, so they did not shoot well. 15 of 41, they shoot 36% from three. So I love the volume at 41 threes. But I look at the total assist numbers, 20 assists. The rule on this show is you got to have 25 or more assists to win the game. That's just the rule.
It's the benchmark.
43s and 25 assists. They didn't get there, right? But they did have 6 blocks. They had 21 points off of turnovers, only 15 points on the break, only 44 points in the paint, right?
Yeah.
So you're just struggling because your top talent's not there. But let's not already start questioning Will Hardy. Let's not do that. Gage Carter, good morning. He says, even though the Jazz went 0 for 2 this weekend, they were pretty fun to watch both games. They were, absolutely.
Yep.
Neville, good morning to you. Tyler P. says, silver lining is the Jazz lose games. Tank note.
Tank note. Next comment.
Yeah, I'm just not here for that. I'm just not here for that. Tyler also says, really wanted to see Agbaji be aggressive in his minutes, but he just goes to the corner and stands there. Well,
that's his job
that's
in
his
the
job.
offense, bro.
Yep.
By the way, Tyler, I don't know if you're in the state of Utah, but if you are, you should come and watch Agbaji play in the G League because he is a damn good player in the G League.
He is fun to watch in the G League, which, by the way, games are at Maverick Center now for the Salt Lake Stars, and it's great. Prismac from Poland, my brother. Hello, everyone. Our problem is defense. Every team scores 110 points against the Jazz. Well, frankly, I think that's what the NBA is now. I mean, if you can hold teams under 110, I mean, you're doing something right. But even when they lose, they do give up a lot of points. There's no doubt about that. But this is a young team that's learning to play as a group, too. I think you have to remember that. I don't know. I'm not that concerned about this Jazz team. I again say they're a 40-win fringe playoff team. That's what I think the Jazz are.
I mean, the worst team in the league at scoring right now is the Clippers at 107 a game. That's what they average a game, 107.
That's crazy. The
highest team is Boston at 120. So, I mean, you're talking about teams like OKC at 115, Minnesota at 115, Memphis, Denver, LA, all at 115 points a game. So to say, like, I just want to put that comment in perspective about 110 points a game. That's not 110 points a game in today's league just is not some ridiculous number. I mean, 125 is a ridiculous number. But 110 is just not that bad of a number to give up. It's just not. Anything under 110, I would tell you, is a defensive gem, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. Lee Jensen, good morning to you. I would not be mad if the Jazz get into the play-in game and win the one and lose the other for a shot at Victor.
What do you mean?
What? So can somebody make me the argument that you want Victor Wembanyama to be the centerpiece of this team?
Yeah, what is the attraction?
I mean, I don't know. I understand why people are excited about him. He's got handles, he shoots. But watching most of his game the other day, he's going up against inferior talent. That's just not even he is going up against talent that is less competitive than the G League. Less competitive. There is no physicality in that league. He has time and space to shoot. Like, he is wildly talented. I just don't think that he is going to be even his rookie year. I'd be shocked if he averaged 12 to 15 points. I'd be shocked, like completely shocked. I would be, I don't know. I'm not excited about him as my centerpiece player. I'm not excited about that.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason that Chet works so well is in OKC is because you have other talent around him there.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Shea, you have Dort. Like, I mean, you have a lot. You have Giddy there. Like, you have a lot of other talent.
Year caliber talent there when they came into the league,
yes,
dude.
Yes, absolutely. But if you look at, the rookies right now, like, you look at this league, and I'm going to use Orlando as the example.
Right.
Orlando is 8-20. They are 8-20. And there is no doubt that Paolo Banchero is the best rookie in the NBA. He's averaging 21.8 points a game, 6 boards, 4 dimes. And he's a guy, with all due respect, he's a guy that I think is 3 to 4 times more developed than Victor Wembanyama.
He's 6'10", 250.
And that's the other thing I was about to say, is that physically he's ready to play in the NBA. He's also shooting on the regular 26% from 3. Right? So he's a guy that isn't even close to the top end of his game. He's not close. But you look at Victor Wembanyama, that's 7'4". And he cannot
230.
be. Yeah, he can't be close. I don't even think he's 230. I was watching him at the NBA app, by the way, is problematic. Man, that app is rough. But I was watching Victor Wembanyama on the app, and I'm like, dude, he's got to be way closer to 215, 210. Like, he is rail thin. And his hand, the thing that really worries me is he handles the ball really well, which creates a lot of things for him. If you haven't seen Victor Wembanyama is a guy that's got handles, and he shoots the 3 really well.
Yeah.
So what happens is guys play him really tight, so he has no problem getting by them. Like, I mean, it's super easy. Nobody's physical with him, nothing. In the NBA, that's not going to happen. He's not at his length with his arms like that going to be able to dribble. Like, there were 3 or 4 times at the top of the key where guys were like around him like a gnat knocking the ball away, and he was able to recover it. In the NBA, that's not going to happen. I don't believe that he's going to be able to just blow by guys in the NBA. So I think at some point that's all going to come back around to, okay, well, I've evolved now, right? But he's not going to be able to bang. He's going to be the exact opposite of Zion. He's going to be heavily reliant on his jump shot.
Mm-hmm. Which, hey, maybe he's a prolific jump shooter in the league. Maybe that happens. I mean, that's a possibility. But to me, you're not going to just come into the NBA and start being a physical guy when that's not who you've been. And this is, for me, where I am concerned. I don't doubt that the guy can handle the ball or shoot the ball or do basketball activities. I just don't doubt that. That's clearly in his game. But what guys like Victor don't understand until you get to the league and you start banging with a guy who's 250 pounds is it doesn't matter how tall you are in the NBA. It quite literally does not matter, right? Because when Zion's coming downhill, he's going to move you and you're going to be under the basket and unable to block him. That's the problem. And on offense, the problem is going to be that you're not going to be able to just go by guys, as you've been saying.
That's right.
So it's like, it's this whole thing where, like, if you can picture like a line graph in your head, Victor's been climbing, right? His entire life, he's been the best guy on the floor in every single game, including now. The problem is now he's going to reach this new level up way the hell up here where he's going to have to now progress. His mindset's going to have to change where now it's going to be, okay, I can't get away with being 215 in the NBA. I got to get to at least 230 pounds. I have to get to 230 pounds reliably and comfortably within my game to be successful because I got to be able to bang with Steven Adams. I got to be able to bang with Jokic, and because that's who he's going to guard. You think he's going to guard threes in the NBA? There's no way in hell he's guarding threes in the NBA. He's not guarding Bradley Beal. He's not guarding Kevin Durant.
No chance.
And if he is guarding Kevin Durant's winning that matchup. So that's why I say, yes, he's wonderfully talented. Yes, dude should be the number 1 overall pick. I don't even dispute that. I don't even hate the guy. I have no problem with him. But I have a problem with the concept that you're going to draft this kid with the expectation that he's just going to take you to the NBA Finals. That's not happening. I'm sorry, it's not. Can he be a piece on a championship team? Yeah, sure, absolutely. No problem with that. No problem at all. But you're going to have to learn how to, A, stay healthy, but then B, play physical basketball, which he's not doing now. And that's why I say I'm not here for Jazz tanking talk, with all due respect to Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm not here for it because that's not the right move.
What percentage would you put on Victor Wembanyama being, at any point in his career, being a superstar? I mean, like, what? Why are you freaking out over the camera? I was asking you a question. Like, what percentage would you put on that? Because I would put it at 25%. I'll give him a 25% chance here right now today. Haven't seen him going up against NBA bodies. Haven't seen him go through a pre-draft workout. None of that. Just now today, knowing what I know about Victor Wembanyama, talking to people around the NBA, watching his games, watching his highlights, all that stuff. I put it at 25% that he is a, and when I say star player, that he is ever, 25-10.
Can he be Jaren Jackson Jr.?
No, they're totally different players. The question is, can he ever be Kevin Durant? Because that's his comparison. That's his like-for-like comparison. And I don't think he can. Victor Wembanyama, you can't compare him to Jaren Jackson Jr. because he's not a center. He's a 3. He is maybe a 4. And I think that the problem's going to be is he's not physically capable of competing at that level. He is not what Giannis was when Giannis came in. He is a guy that at some point is going to have to be able to play below the three-point stripe in the NBA. And that's why I say I give him a 25% chance. That's, for me, I think it's a very, very steep hill to climb that he is. I mean, can he make an all-star team? Sure. My aunt, without, being a man, can make an NBA all-star team, right? Like, that's not the question. Can he ever be first-team All-NBA? Mm-hmm. Can he be the best player on a championship-winning team? I don't see that in any rookie. I don't see that in not Scoot Henderson, not anybody, because the bust percentage is so high in the NBA draft. That's the other thing you don't think about is this isn't even just a VW conversation. So, Kenai Johnson says, VW isn't worth it, just my opinion. Totally agree. Mike Maple says, I'd move up for Scoot, not VW, 10 out of 10 times. I've seen Scoot in person, and I think Scoot is physically ready to play.
Yeah.
Watching he was hurt when they were here. So we didn't get to see him play, but watching his tape, he's NBA ready now. Mm-hmm. He is NBA ready now. Tyler P says, I think Victor will be great, but the Jazz have zero shot at him, so I kind of moved past him. When you say great, what does that mean?
Yeah, how do you define that? What is your
what does
sense
that mean?
of that?
And my Monty fan says 20%. Justin Salas says 15 to 20%. Totally agree. I think it's 50-50 he's an all-star.
I would say that's fair. I think
probably.
The all-star appearances are a popularity vote. So from that standpoint, he clearly is good at that.
Yeah. I think like being a really good NBA player, being a Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, being a Kevin Durant, being like a superstar cornerstone franchise player.
Yeah.
Is very different than making an all-star team.
Yeah.
I mean, it being an NBA all-star, frankly, is not that difficult. I think if you're a regular 20-minute-a-night guy, you can be an all-star.
Right.
Honest to God. Eugene 12 says MVP of the league in a few years. That's
you fucking donkey.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Bro, come on.
Come on. You think in 2 or 3 years he's going to be the MVP of the NBA?
No.
That's highly unlikely. That he ever wins an NBA MVP is, I think there's maybe a 1 to 5% chance.
Yeah.
Like 1 to 5%. It's so difficult to do.
Yeah.
My Monty fan says superstar is different than all-star. Jeff Malone was an all-star. You just brought up the name Jeff freaking Malone. Man, that's why I love you, dude. Jeff Malone. That's awesome. Mesh says 25% chance of VW being a superstar? Nonsense. 70%. When you have the skill set that he has, all it takes is building your body and adjusting to the game. The dude is going to shoot over people. So, I mean, on a baseline level, he'll shoot over people. But here's the problem. He's not going to have the space to get that shot. What he's doing right now is only, in my opinion, I think the success he's having now is because he is not playing skilled talent. He is playing in, and I would encourage you to download the NBA app. They show pretty much every one of his games.
Yeah.
And you just go and look when he drives to the basket. Like, look at what happens when he drives to the basket.
How often is dude on the floor? Like, how often does he get knocked to the ground? Think about that.
I mean,
like, in the league, that happens on a possession-by-possession basis. Excuse me. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get physical in the NBA. Guys are going to get their money's worth for fouls. And to me, VW is going to need to adjust to that. And I get it. Like, people believe that he's just going to come in and shoot over guys and he's just taller than you, and that's all fine and dandy. But do you like, as great as Kevin Durant is, and as much as I love Kevin Durant, he still gets his shot blocked from time to time. He gets stripped too. Now, that's not on SportsCenter and Top 10 Plays, but if you watch enough basketball, it happens probably, I don't know, once every couple of games. He'll get stripped, he'll get blocked, he'll get beat defensively. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not like Kevin Durant's twice the athlete that VW is, right? He's quicker, can do more, not as tall, but guys are still able to affect him. So you really think that they're not going to get after VW? Like, that's what I have trouble with.
I look at guys, the best players in Europe. Like, Tony Kukoc is a perfect example. Tony Kukoc was the guy that they called the Euro Jordan, like Euro Magic. Like, he is awesome. Like, Tony Kukoc, before he came to the Bulls, was amazing. He was I think he was EuroLeague MVP like 4 times. And remember, he didn't come to the NBA like when he was 20 years old.
Right.
He comes to the NBA after being the MVP multiple times, and for his career averaged 11.6 points. One of the most skilled players to ever come to the NBA from Europe, averaged 11.6 points. And like, if you look at Darko Milicic,
yeah,
here's another guy that was, oh my God, all world, get hard, like, geez Louise, I'm going to hit that. Right? Like, this cat couldn't miss. He averaged 6 points in his career.
Bet you weren't expecting this one.
6 points in his career before he went on to kickboxing.
Neat.
Right? I mean,
I thought you said he went on to kickboxing.
It just is so improbable that Victor Wembanyama is going to come and set some trend, that he's going to be totally different than all of the other bigs that have come over here. It's really difficult to be his size and weigh like 38 pounds and compete.
Yeah.
Here's the other question.
Yeah.
Let's say he does add a bunch of muscle and he does add a bunch of weight.
Do you even lift?
Now he can't play on the wing. You're 7'4", and what are you going to be, 250? Does that sound like a 2-3 combo guard? Does that sound like a guy that can play the 3-4 with handles, and it changes your game?
What is so Giannis goes through this body transformation.
Yes.
Right? Let's see what Giannis is 240. Like, there's no way Buddy's getting to 250. Like, that's what I'm saying. I think you're right. I think this guy is maybe 215, 220.
Right now,
nice.
when he was in Vegas, when he was in Vegas, I mean, he could not have been 225. There's no way There's just no way.
But like, let's say he does get to 230. So let's say you do weightlifting, you put that muscle on, you're 230, you're 7'4". It's not in his game to me to be this guy that's super physical. That is the core issue. If you like, I'll even give you, listen, Tyler and Ruffs and all these guys who love VW, right? I will give you guys the win on, hey, he'll just shoot over people. Hey, he'll just be bigger than you, so that's how he'll find success. Okay, great. But what you can't get away from is he's not a dog. He's not somebody who's like, all right, the ball's in my hand. I'm just going to run you the hell over and get to the basket. Why do you think Bron was so successful his rookie year? You think Bron was some elite shooter coming out of high school?
No.
Bron was not an elite. You were at his first game. Bron was not some elite shooter.
Not at all.
Bron was 6'8" and just better than you.
He was a freight train, and he had skills. Like I don't know. I think the kid has the potential to be the best player in the world because that's what everybody's telling you. Right now, we just need to. He's not growing and developing against the talent he's facing. We saw that in Las Vegas, right? We saw that, against G League talent, he can dominate. Okay, but Jared Butler scored 30 points in the G League.
Yeah.
Agbaji scores 30 points in the G League.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean almost anything. It means almost nothing. You've got to get to the NBA and show that you can be a 40-minute guy to be the best player in the world. That's all I'm saying. And I'll keep saying what I've said for a year now. Scoot Henderson's the best prospect in this draft. He is in a draft full of prospects where you've probably got 30 guys who could start in the NBA.
Yeah.
Scoot Henderson's the best NBA prospect in this draft, in my opinion. We've talked about this. Like if we look at this past NBA draft, right? If you look at the 2022 NBA draft and you consider how it went and where the guys have gone since they got drafted. Paolo Banchero went number 1. He has been an absolute stud.
Yeah, worth it, 100%. No doubt about it.
Chet Holmgren's hurt, not playing. Like, I look at Jabari Smith.
Yep.
Jabari Smith has been pretty good.
Yep.
Has Keegan Murray been a guy that you're like, hey, man?
He's been okay.
He's a guy that you're like, okay. He's okay. I just don't know. Like, if I look at a guy like a Keegan Murray, ask yourself, like, is he going to develop into somebody when he's averaging 12 points and 4 boards? Is he going to develop into somebody where you're like, hey, this kid's going to be amazing? I can see Keegan Murray developing into a 23, 24 point a night guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think he'll ever be the best player on a championship team. And when you get drafted where he got drafted, that's the expectation, right? Like Jaden Ivey's been pretty good. But I don't know. Is Johnny Davis somebody we're like, oh yeah, got to have him? Is Jalen Williams or Dallin Terry or
no?
Look at what Walker Kessler is. Look at Walker Kessler, 22nd in the first round. He's a project. What I'm telling you is this coming draft, there's 30 guys.
Yeah.
That could be starters in the NBA.
Which again also brings up the point of, hey, like VW is going to go number 1 overall, but inside of 2 seasons, is he the best player from his draft?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a great question.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's talk NBA draft if you'd like with VW. Let's talk Utah Jazz. 3 of 4 they've lost. 6 of their next 9 are on the road.
Yeah.
And do you want VW on the Jazz? Because I'm here. Maybe I'm just rainy day parade guy, but I'm here to tell you I don't. All of our NBA talk, including your Utah Jazz, is presented by TryDayTrading.com. Get to TryDayTrading.com/Monty right now. Watch their free webinar and make a decision. That's what I'm asking you to do. So many people have said that when they watch the webinar, it absolutely blows their mind because you just don't understand what's possible until you understand what's possible. And when you watch the free webinar at Try Day Trading, you understand that, yeah, you too can be right now making $1,000 a day But every day you delay, you're delaying prosperity. And when you look at the frustration you have with your job, how many people listening to this show right now are going to be working Christmas Day? How many people listening to this show right now are going to be upset that they're not going to spend as much time during the holiday with their family? How many people listening to the show right now are not going to take the last week of the year off? And if the answer is, yeah, I'm not taking the last week of the year off, I can't, I've got to work, or I don't have vacation time, or why are you not working for yourself? Do that right now. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. TryDayTrading.com/Monty. Go watch the free webinar and then make a decision. There are people who have gone through the Try Day Trading program that are making hundreds and thousands of dollars a day. Today is the 12th of December. Let's just say that you work the 5 days this week and the 5 days next week and you make $1,000 a day. That's 10 grand. Ask yourself right now, am I going to make $10,000 by the end of December? Probably not. And if your answer is no, you should be watching the free webinar. It's no obligation. There's no cost to it. It's free at TryDayTrading.com/Monty. And I, one of the things Mrs. Monty and I talked about this past weekend was not living life like tomorrow's guaranteed. And one of the things we tend to do, and because we were planning vacations and we were planning, because we're not working the last week of the year.
Right.
We are from, a week from Friday is our last show. So we have 10 more shows this year. And one of the things that we have been looking at is planning vacations and where are we going to go? And we're going to LA and then we're going to Tahoe. And one of the things we talked about is that you just can't cruise through life thinking tomorrow's guaranteed, because it's not. It's not guaranteed. I'm here to tell you right now that tomorrow is not guaranteed. You can step outside your house and get hit by a truck, dude.
Yeah.
It is. That's how you have to look at life. What am I going to do today to provide for my family? What am I going to do today to thrive? I'm telling you, stop acting like there's other days that you can go and change your life and make money, because there's not. Today is the day. Oh, wow, I've got a New Year's resolution. Screw New Year's resolutions. You're fat now. You're going to be fat a year from now if you're waiting on a New Year's resolution, right? TryDayTrading.com/Monty. I'm telling you, nothing is guaranteed. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. 15 minutes from, look at Mike Leach.
Dude.
Did you guys hear the story on Mike Leach, the head coach at Mississippi State? The Pirate, Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Flown to a hospital in Jackson, Mississippi, and he is, by some accounts, on his deathbed. His situation is critical. Like, they're talking about how he needs massive amounts of prayers because he had a medical incident at his home. Like, you think Mike Leach thought yesterday was the day he was going to die? Probably not.
Yeah.
Don't live that mentality. TryDayTrading.com. Tanner says, how is Mrs. Monty doing? She's doing well. For those of you who don't know, Mrs. Monty broke her arm snowboarding a week ago. And she's doing great. She is, we have an orthopedic consult today, but she doesn't have a lot of pain, thankfully.
On a
She's
treadmill
sleeping
over
well.
the weekend?
Yeah, she's working out again. She's doing great. She is doing great. Dallin says, do you guys day trade? Kind of hard when you guys work during a market open. Well, but see, it's actually not. You understand that day trading doesn't have to be your full-time job.
Right.
Day trade. There's a ton of people we tell the story all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a huge stock market guy. And whether it was, a lot of people go back to Joe's to the moon, bruh. But I have been in the market a long time. I am a stock guy. And there are systems set up and you learn the process. One of the things you learn at Try Day Trading is you learn the process of how to manage day trading during your full-time job and how to grow your business so that you can, if you want to, only do day trading for a living or do it as a side hustle, whatever it is you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely, I'm in the market. I'm telling you, one of the big wins for me to this day still remains GE. The pandemic crushed GE. I got in at a great time on GE. And I thought I was going to be like a week in on GE. No, dude, I'm hanging on to it. Absolutely hanging on to it. So, yeah, absolutely, I'm in the market. Tanner says, so true, nothing is guaranteed. Absolutely. Best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is today. Plant it and do some day trading. Well, but I'm being serious.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy. A lot of people talk about, well, it just takes so long. But if you never start, you never finish.
Yeah.
If you never start the race, you never finish. And I'm a big believer in You know, I'm a big believer in you got to act quickly. You know, like it's just.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be proactive. There's no doubt.
Jeff Johnson says, wow, the day trading commercial escalated quickly. But I'm really passionate about life. Like I'm all about it. Like I'm into it. Jake and I were snowboarding Saturday before he went and hung out with his girlfriend and dumped me for the weekend.
Dilly.
You know, no, I'm not going there. Anyway, the point is,
Dilly.
you know, I was sitting on top of the mountain at one point, just saying to myself, hey man, we got to realize how good we have it.
Yeah.
And I'm really in that mindset right now of realizing how good our lives are, man. Like you got to take a minute and just realize how good your life is. Realize how good your life is. My Monty fan says, thumbs up to Mrs. Monty and the show. Thanks. Appreciate that. Good to see everybody this morning. Football 50 in 2 minutes. Dallin says, Jazz need to pack it up, trade some pieces, and tank for a high draft pick. They have good pieces, but not good enough to get it done. But, guys, they have so many draft picks, they're going to get whatever pick they want.
Yeah.
Because if they want the number one pick, they can go and package a bunch of picks and get it.
It's true.
I mean, they have flexibility. That's why you don't need to tank. You know,
and I just don't think the experience of tanking is. I don't take Ryan Smith and Danny Ainge for those kind of guys who are like, well, we're just going to lose a bunch of games and is what it is. You know, like that's just not who they are.
Yeah. Alex Chacon says, man, I've been living in tankathon pretty much all season. Mock draft season started at the beginning of the season this year. Didn't it really? I mean, that's crazy. Mesh says, I believe Scoot would be a perfect fit for this Jazz team. Oh, I agree with that 100%.
Agreed. I think Scoot would be the guy you've been looking for to replace Conley for, 2-3 years now.
Jake, New York Jazz fan, New York Monty fan, has advice for you. He says, Jake, the worst time to get back together with your girlfriend is before Christmas. Second worst time is before Valentine's Day. It's all about spring, summer, fall courtships. Any thoughts? No thoughts. No thoughts at all.
No, I'm good.